Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Start the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours and your little slice of South Louisiana heaven since the last opportunity we had to spend some time with you and yours. Starting as we typically do with Louisiana news, the tragic story of 19-year-old Madison Brooks dying recently after being inebriated at a Tigerland bar, forgive me. Then, depending on what side you talk to, was either raped or engaged in consensual sex before being dropped off in a neighborhood by the group of individuals in the car she was with, and then subsequently struck and killed by a car. Continues to get even worse. WBRZ News 2, the ABC affiliate in Baton Rouge, did some digging and are reporting today that there have been at least, over the last 5 years, 5 traffic-related, alcohol-related deaths regarding minors in Tigerland. This is a problem, y'all, that has existed for far too long. Now, let's be honest with this. We all know about the laissez-aller, bon temps roulette attitude in Louisiana, particularly South Louisiana, as it pertains to alcohol and particularly underage drinking. But with 5 fatalities in the last 5 years, this is something we've got to get a handle on, guys and girls, and the sooner the better. The liquor license for Reggie's Bar has been yanked as a result of this latest episode, and prosecutors now are saying that they want to convene a grand jury and potentially upgrade the charges for the individuals involved. You know, it occurred to me last night that the amount of outrage over this latest incident is in no way, shape, or form anywhere near what it should be. It occurred to me last night. Can you imagine what the outcry would be, particularly from the national women's organizations, civil rights organizations, and the like? Can you imagine if the young woman were black and 3 of the 4 perpetrators were white and she was left to die, taken advantage of sexually while being at the point of alcohol poisoning, can you imagine what the outcry would be? That's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer. We all know the answer. There would be riots, there'd be burnings, there'd be lootings, the whole nine. Every alphabet organization under the sun would descend on Baton Rouge to protest why this poor black woman was taken advantage of by these white men. You know I'm not telling you a lie. You know exactly what the outcry would be. So why is it not the same for this woman? This is something, y'all, that should supersede color. It shouldn't matter what the color of the victim is. All that should matter is that she was served alcohol illegally, underage, and taken advantage of by a group of individuals. That should be the only thing that matters. But again, it's one of those ways that they pit us against each other. They divide us up into all these little bitty groups and then demonize one after the other and keep us at each other's throats, never taking time to realize what the real problem is. This is a tragedy all across the board. And the outrage should be the same in the black community as it is in the white community. And when all is said and done, y'all, it should be obvious by now, we're not talking to our kids nearly as much as we should. When you're talking 5 kids in 5 years, and those are only the ones that were reported. Those are deaths. That's not injuries lumped into that number as well. Our children and their actions are speaking to us. So a thinking person would have to ask, why aren't we listening? Why aren't we putting measures in place to circumvent the problem? And tragically, as I have said God knows how many times, unless and until the right person's young one is killed, we'll continue to go along business as usual. In other Louisiana news, yet another bad look for our state. The Justice Department announcing this week that they've conducted a survey and found out that the Louisiana Department of Corrections has been routinely confining people well past their date of incarceration. Meaning, people get arrested, sentenced to prison, and the Department of Corrections holds them long past the time that they have been sentenced to. According to the Department of Justice, between January and April of 2022 alone, just that time frame, the Department of Corrections for Louisiana detained 26.8% of people released from their custody well past their due dates. 26.8% were held for at least 90 days longer than they should have, and the median number of days over detained was 29. Round that off to a month. It is also because of the additional costs associated with incarceration, costing us in the neighborhood of $2.5 million a year, because we're holding people longer than what their sentence actually is. I think back to recently when there was this big kerfuffle about an individual being released from prison because of a snafu, if you will. He was not sentenced, even though It's a second-degree murder conviction, which in the state of Louisiana is, in case you don't know, a mandatory sentence of life in prison with no probation, no pardon, no parole. If that is the sentence, you're convicted of second-degree murder. It's mandatory. You go to prison for the rest of your life. No probation, no pardon, no parole. Why do we have to have a separate sentencing for this? I mean, maybe I'm oversimplifying this. Maybe I'm missing something here. But if the sentence for second-degree murder is mandatory, go to jail for the rest of your life. No probation, no pardon, no parole. Upon conviction, the minute the judge says, Madam Foreman, Mr. Foreman, do we have a verdict? Yes, sir, Your Honor. We've got it right here. Okay, well, what say you? Guilty. Why do we have to have a separate sentencing for that? Why is it not within the purview of the judge at that moment to say, okay, you've been found guilty by a jury of your peers according to the law. It's mandatory life, no probation, no pardon, no parole. Next case. Why is that? Now, I know what some of y'all are probably saying. Well, Clarence, you got to realize that the lawyers have got to make as much money as possible, so they need a separate sentencing. But a separate sentencing for something that the law very clearly says what the sentencing is? Now we find out that the Department of Corrections is routinely holding people well past the day they are supposed to be released. It is my sincere hope that the next governor of our state will address this. Aside from the violation of the 14th Amendment, aside from the constitutional and civil rights violations, it's also costing the taxpayers an inordinate amount of money. But, you know, now that I think about it, hey, we've got everything paid for in Louisiana. We got 5 new bridges between Baton Rouge and New Orleans across the river. We've got the interstate system widened so that we're not the only place in the whole freaking country where a major coast-to-coast interstate comes down to one lane. What the heck? We don't need the money. We've got all of our problems solved. And if you believe that, Marty says he's got a beachfront mountaintop chalet in Bruley, Louisiana, that you can buy real cheap. Hopefully, we will keep these things in mind as the next gubernatorial election comes our way. Now that I think about it, not just the next gubernatorial election, but the next time you have the opportunity to vote on whom will represent you at the state capitol. Just a thought. Earlier this week, Diane Andrews, co-host of Diane Andrews in Black and White, was with us on Tuesday, so we didn't have time. But that's all right. We'll make up for it today. Yet another illustrious edition of Now That's Just Stupid. That's coming up after we finish the first break of today's show of the Clarence Bugg Show here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information and then we'll give you the context. And by the way,
We'll give you fun, too. Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, gang. Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bugs Show. Because we shuffled our schedule earlier this week with Diane Andrews, we didn't get the opportunity to once again share with you the extraordinary level of stupid all across the planet that we inhabit. And not to be one to break routine, we just thought we would push it off until Thursday. So it is the second segment of today's show, and that of course means time for, you got it, another edition of Now That's Just Stupid. You'll notice, however, that it says very clearly STOOPID. So that, my friends, is an entirely new level of stupid. We start with how they play you. Not so very long ago, you'll remember there was an incessant, overwhelming media deluge of the American public regarding voter integrity in the state of Georgia. Remember Jim Crow 2.0? Oh, they're trying to deny black people the right to vote. Remember that? Major League Baseball went so far as to yank the All-Star game from the state of Georgia, city of Atlanta, and moved it to Denver, Colorado. A place, by the way, that has even more restrictive voting laws than the state of Georgia. But I digress. Aside from pulling an estimated $250 million out of the economy of Atlanta because these people are racist and they're trying to deny black people the right to vote. Remember that? It went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, last week, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, big newspaper in Atlanta, did a survey asking black people in particular, what was your experience like in the last election? Was it excellent? Was it standard? Was it fair? Was it poor? Jim Crow 2.0. 73% of black voters in Atlanta said, my experience was excellent. By the way, 73% of white voters said, my experience voting was excellent. I've been doing this a long time, y'all. This is my 43rd year, and never have I seen this come out of a poll, not one time. So after they tabulated all of the responses to how black people were being disenfranchised by Jim Crow 2.0, after they tabulated all the results and asked the black people in Atlanta, how many of y'all had a poor or horrible experience voting? 0% said it was a poor experience. Now, it should say something to you that for weeks on end, we were subjected to, well, this is a racist law, and this is Jim Crow 2.0, and we need to take the Major League Baseball All-Star game away from these racist people. 0% of black people that they questioned said voting was a poor experience. 73% of black people said it was great. 73% of white people said, oh, it was great. No problems. You see how they play you? They told us every freaking day for weeks on end how racist this legislation was, how it was disenfranchising black people. Raphael Warnock, Stacey Abrams, all of them, all over the news every freaking day. And now we find out it was 180 degrees opposite from the truth. I guess if there's a saving grace in all of this, is that if you fell for that crap, it's probably not the first time. And guess what? It probably won't be the last time. Yet another example of how they play you to be stupid. Of course, now, it wouldn't be right if we were to go through a segment and racism not rear its ugly head again. Have you heard this one? University in Norway receiving a $1.7 million grant to study how white paint has contributed to the spread of racism across the world. White paint has contributed to the spread of racism all around the world, not just in Norway, mind you, everywhere. Now here I am with my silly self thinking all these years that by having white paint on the wall in a room, it makes it easier to see stuff. My silly self, I'm thinking, if I have white paint on the walls and I use a white light, then that light will be reflected all around the room. I need less light, and the light that I do have is used more efficiently. Little did I know that I was contributing to systemic racism all around the world. A $1.7 million grant to study this. Finally, lest you think stupid is confined to other parts of the world and not here in our native Louisiana. Think again, my friend. Did you see this one? A temporary cafeteria worker in Tangipahoa Parish arrested last week for selling edibles, cookies, candies, laced with narcotics, marijuana. You know, the level of stupid, I guess, increases exponentially when, apparently, you are talking about criminal activities. This woman apparently was completely unaware that schools are firearm and narcotics free environments. Meaning, if we catch you with a gun on school property, because it's a firearm free zone, the penalties are enhanced. If we catch you in a drug free zone with drugs, the penalties are enhanced. But apparently none of this crossed her mind as she decided to sell marijuana-laced edibles to students. Now, let me ask you, when you were in school, and for some of us, it's been a lot longer than others, I get it. But if somebody at your school was selling alcohol or narcotics or illegal weapons, what do you think the odds are that the students wouldn't talk about this among themselves and or with their teachers? In this particular instance, I, as a conservative, am one of those that believes in smaller government and less government intrusion in our lives. But for her, I wouldn't have a problem with a stupid penalty. Whatever your sentence is by law, add another 5 or 10 years just because you're stupid. Of all places, at a school with minors, and you didn't think they were going to talk about this? In the words of the late Richard Pryor, thank God we got jails and prisons. Bottom of the hour break. We'll come back and talk about something that directly affects you as we continue the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
You could be driving. Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, And we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at old school prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Saw something this morning that piqued my interest, and it is, if you've been paying attention, for government, individuals, and environmentalists, the wave of the future. It was announced this week by East Baton Rouge Parish Superintendent of Schools, Cito Narcisse, that from a grant from the Environmental Protection Agency, the EBR School Board is planning to purchase 19 electric school buses using a $7.5 million grant from the EPA. Superintendent Narcisse says that transportation is one of the biggest expenses for the school system. And by purchasing these electric buses, it will allow them to shift more money from other areas into the classroom. So I thought about this morning and looking at the price tag. So I look up average price of a school bus. And depending on what website you eventually end up on, you'll find anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 per vehicle. So I immediately went to the calculator on my phone and divided 19 into $7.5 million. It comes out to spending $368,000 per bus. And of course, they have to be charged using electricity that we're going to pay for as well. There has to be something more to this, because obviously this whole deal is being sold to us as a way to save money, and of course a way to, Marty's favorite, save the planet. When we're spending $368,000 for something that typically costs $60,000 to $80,000, how long is it going to take us to recoup that money? Just a question. Just a question. Additionally, there was a report out recently centering on the number of vehicle fires that are occurring because of the use of electric vehicles. And of course, here in South Louisiana with floods, hurricanes, the whole nine, there is the distinct possibility on any given day that your electric vehicle may flood. And once that happens, it's pretty much a ticking time bomb before there's a fire. They also, in looking at this, talked about warnings that we've been receiving now from fire departments all across the country. Typically, when you see a car on the side of the interstate, there's a car fire, emergency responders are called. It typically takes, according to fire officials, anywhere from 400 to 600 gallons of water to extinguish the fire. They are now sounding the warning that for electric vehicles, it typically takes 5,000 to 6,000 gallons of water to extinguish an electrical fire or an electrical vehicle fire. You know what's really going to be interesting? To see how the environmentalists that are so hell-bent on shoving electric vehicles down everyone's throat, because after all, we have to save the planet. When all these vehicles catch fire, and all the resources that have to be used to extinguish those fires, it's going to be interesting to see how the environmentalist wackos justify this. Additionally, for those of you getting ready to run out and chunk down your money on that EV to save the planet, how much longer do you think they're going to be able to keep hidden from the American public and the rest of the world the raping of resources of our planet to produce these vehicles? It has gotten to a point now where you look at what's being done to produce these vehicles, and more people are of the opinion now we are actually doing more harm than good. But that doesn't fit the narrative, so we'll try to keep this on the down low as long as possible. What's the old saying? Follow the money. Can you imagine how much money is going to be made in this transition to save the planet? I mean, right here in Baton Rouge. If in fact they're only going to get 19 buses out of this $7.5 million, that would equate to over $360,000 per bus. Like I said, follow the money. And at the end of the day, all you have to do is go back through all of the projections, all of the forecasts that we've been fed over the last 50 years about climate change, oil running out, petroleum reserves, the whole nine. And you find out pretty quickly, not a single one of them have come true. But see, this is what happens when you scare people enough. If you scare people bad enough, there's no end to what they won't allow you to do. There's no end. Just go back and look through all of the dire predictions that we've been fed over the last 50 years. Look at how much money was involved, and look at how many of them actually came true. There's another old adage that says there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is pretty much recycled stuff from another point in time. And unfortunately, the left, they've become masters of this game. I'll never forget. As a teenager, one of my favorite songs was by my all-time favorite band on the planet, Tower of Power. There's only so much oil in the ground. Sooner or later, there won't be much around. Tell it to your children while you're driving around downtown that there's only so much oil in the ground. Funny how that's now shifted from there's only so much oil to we need to get electric vehicles and let's rape the planet in the meantime to produce the batteries and all the other things that are required for this transition, but it's all in the interest of saving the planet. History is an amazing thing, y'all, and maybe, just maybe, that's why the left is trying so very hard to erase or rewrite history. Keep people dumb enough, and you can get them to swallow just about anything you want to. Oh, and by the way, those things just happen to involve somebody making a whole lot of money. But then again, maybe that's why we have moved in this country from a system of education to a system of indoctrination. Maybe, just maybe, that's why the left is trying so very hard to rewrite history. What's the other old adage? Those who forget the past are doomed to what? Repeat it. And to think, not so very long ago, common sense was the hallmark of every walking, breathing American. My, how far we have fallen in such a short amount of time. Final break of today's show. I want to end this on a good note when we come back. So let me get this final break out of the way. We'll come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we'll wrap up the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back for the final segment of the Thursday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. As you well know, it is Mardi Gras season in South Louisiana once again. And for many of us longtime local folk, it is a most joyous time of year. Unfortunately, our world having become what it has become, you are, I'm sure, painfully aware that on any given moment of any given day, of any given week, month, year, anything can happen. So it behooves us as a community to ramp up our situational awareness. It's a sad commentary to have to make, but it is what it is. And the sooner you adopt that mindset, the more prepared you are to take part in Mardi Gras festivities all across South Louisiana. Now, while I'm at it, let me encourage my fellow Louisianians to make it a point to clean up our state as we get prepared to welcome millions and millions of visitors to our state. Mardi Gras has grown to the point where all across the world, people make as a destination, a bucket list entry, if you will. You know, I want to go down to Louisiana before I die and take part in Mardi Gras. And typically, if you were raised anywhere near like I was, when company comes to visit, mom and dad have you in there cleaning up like nobody's business, because you want to put your best face on for company that's coming to visit. Well, the same is true for Mardi Gras and Louisiana. I have been so blessed in my life to be able to travel to God knows how many different cities, states, countries, for that matter. And I get it. I understand my life experience is not typical. I get that. But my point is this. A couple years ago, taking our daughter to her freshman year in college in Michigan, I'm driving around Flint, Michigan, and the place has been just totally decimated. With the downturn years ago in the domestic automobile industry, Flint, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit, was totally decimated. People moved out like nothing I've ever seen. We would drive down a street and there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 empty houses, 1 occupied house, 5, 6 more abandoned houses, 1 more occupied house, 6 closed businesses, 1 open, another 8 closed, another 1 barely hanging on. And I'm sitting there at an intersection, and I look around, and it struck me. My God, this place is clean as a whistle. Homes that had been abandoned, grass was cut, not just cut, the clippings picked up, sidewalks edged. And I'm at the intersection, and I look down, no cigarette butts littering the roads, no styrofoam, plastic cups, plastic bags everywhere. And it occurred to me, we in South Louisiana have pride in where we're from. I'm a Southern boy. I'm a Louisiana guy. I'm proud of where I'm from. Those people have pride in where they are. There's a difference. Pride from where you're from versus pride where you are. If you're here, shouldn't you want to take care of it? If you're here and people are coming to visit, don't you want it to look as nice as possible? If you're here, don't you want, for the sake of your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, for them to grow up in a place where it shows that we have pride in where we live? People come here, and we always hear about them raving about the food, the people, the architecture, the history, the music. But I would love to be with them when they return back to their place of origin, and people ask, so how was your trip? What do you think about Louisiana? Well, we already know they're going to say, man, the people there, friendliest people I've ever met in my life. The food, oh my God, I've never in my life tasted anything anywhere near as the food those folks in Louisiana cook. But eventually, if they're honest, the conversation is probably going to go something like this. Man, I enjoyed the heck out of the food. The people, unbelievable. The music, never heard anything like it. But I got to be honest with you. That is the trashiest place I've ever seen in my life. What does that say about us? You know, it's one thing to have this wonderful meal that you're about to sit down and eat. But if you walk in the kitchen and you see rodents and vermin everywhere, it kind of changes, even though the food tastes good, it kind of ruins the whole experience for you, does it not? We got company coming, y'all. And let's make it a point to put our best face forward And you know, there's just a possibility that if we start doing it now and make it a point to do it again at the culmination of these festivities, who knows? It might just become a part of us and we find ourselves doing it on a regular basis. Marty said, nah, that never happened. Hey, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You got to start someplace. Finally, speaking of the worst of and the best of, love my Louisiana. Watching the response to this latest government-controlled / weird weather in Point Capee Parish and Iberville Parish, the response of those people helping their fellow citizens is heartwarming. I mean, I know what you're saying, Clarence. You can't be surprised by this. I mean, you're the one always talking about how wonderful Louisiana people are, and that would be true. But I'm obligated to acknowledge it. The way those areas have responded to help one another is truly heartwarming. It is the clearest manifestation of what Louisiana people truly are all about. And listen, I get it, y'all. I understand adversity many times will bring out the best in people. And God knows we've had enough of it in our state to where we know when it's coming, all right, if I make it through okay, I'm going out of my way to help somebody else. It's a part of who we are. But I'll be honest with you guys and girls, it never gets old watching it unfold. United Cajun Navy, local elected officials, all banding together to help those less fortunate than we were with this latest weather event. Tip of the hat to you, my fellow Louisianians, for once again making an old boy proud and reinstilling the notion that when it comes to helping others, there's no place like Louisiana. No place like it. That being said, Marty's given me the evil eye, which means my time's up and I gotta go. But you already know the drill, guys, girls. This day, maybe more so than any other in history, I give it to you. You know what? You are spot on. America, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. God bless.